Welcome back, friends. It's Savage Sasquatch from GamingReportCard.com. And we are back with what appears to be our final episode of Nier Automata. It's been a good game, but I think it's time for it to be coming to an end. Before we go, so I guess I needed to be connected to the PS Network on the to make things happen right after the E ending. It might delete my save file from something I've read, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay. A request unlocking you know what. So this is... Can you literally buy the trophies in this? Alright. That is very interesting and kind of messed up if you do. Alright. With this idea in place, I'm going to fast forward to selling everything that we own, and we'll see how much we come to. Oops. We accidentally sold our operating system chip. And that's a no-no. So yes, we received the T ending. Alright, so 2.2 million and change is what we get for selling everything. So anyway, we're going to go over to here and let's talk about request unlocking you know what. So you can literally buy the trophies. This is crazy. Alright. So we found that there is a cheap way to buy trophies in this. Like 20 some odd of them. That's crazy. Nope. Alright. It's not all the trophies in the game, but it is most. Alright, so this was Nier Automata, And this is one of the most difficult games to review I think I've ever faced, because I have such a varying array of feelings towards it. Mostly good. I think I'm going to give the game probably about an 85%, and I understand why people give it much higher. My big frustration with the game came with the side questing. I want to back up, though. I've never played the first Nier, so I didn't really know what Nier was about. So this was kind of a fresh IP for me. Going in with clean opinions of it. And I was really pleasantly surprised. They really did an incredible job of putting together an amazing story that goes much deeper than your average game. So, the gameplay itself, I was amazed by the gameplay itself because it took on so many elements. Most of the time it was 3D brawling, fighting, hack and slash kind of stuff. But you had to be agile and nimble, and you had to be able to evade at the right time, and bring in your pods and use them. And I mean, you didn't have to, but to really be great at it, that's what it required. But it wasn't just that, and it wasn't just exploring the world in 3D. There were the hacking sequences that were kind of like a top-down, almost like an Atari game, but it was a lot of fun and very doable. You had side-scrolling elements, portions of the game. You had top-down twin-stick shooters. You had top-down, like a bullet hell type game like Gradius or something like that that's old school. You had all these different elements, and they did all of them really well, and they were all blended into this one game. And on top of that, for the game to have such an artistic story, it was a really beautiful project that they put together. So, graphically, visually, it looked great. I mean, you guys saw all throughout. There was never anything that looked poor here. I mean, it didn't have to look, Battlefield. It didn't have to look like Battlefield 1, but it definitely didn't look like it was missing anything. Audio is fantastic. The voice acting was all really solid. Nothing really stood out to me in that category, but they did a great job with it. Is what really stood out to me above all was the soundtrack. This game has one of the most beautiful soundtracks ever to grace a game. There's a few that can compete with it, but I absolutely just adored as I played through the game and listening to the sheer beautiful music. And the mood of it often so well matched the areas that I just felt like I was on a bigger adventure and that I was getting swept up into something incredible. So the story itself, I really loved the story. As I've said, they did an incredible job, and it's a work of art. It presents you initially with the fact that aliens had basically invaded Earth and driven mankind from Earth, and mankind had developed these androids to combat the robots, the machines that the aliens had attacked with, in order to get Earth back. And, while there was some truth to that, I'm going to go ahead and say, spoiler alert from here on out. Stop listening fast forward it for about a full minute. Fast forward 1 minute from here, and the spoilers will be over. So we go on to find that the aliens are all dead, and Adam and Eve, machines that were androids that were created by the machines, seem to have done away with them and destroyed them all. They were destroyed by their own creation. And then later we find out that mankind was never even alive during this attack, that mankind had died out because of some of the androids that they had created in order to oversee this project of theirs based on survival. So there was a lot of depth, there was a lot of intrigue, twists and turns, and in the end you found out that 2B was designed to destroy 9S. 2B died in our third playthrough, and 9S was the boy robot, and 2B was designed to destroy, and so for him finding the one that he had grown to love was designed just to kill him over and over. That was heartbreaking. Okay, so a minute has gone by, so I'm going to end my spoilers here. We kind of got through all of that. But anyway, as what I was saying, the twists and turns in this game, I found them thoroughly enthralling. I absolutely loved the story of the game, and when we were playing the core story, I just wanted to keep playing. I kept wanting to dive deeper, dive further, find out what the ending was, find out how this was all going to resolve. So they really wove a wonderful tale of mystery that you just wanted to unravel. Now, I said that I just couldn't get enough of it and I couldn't stop playing as long as I was playing the story. And that is the problem, is that there's not just story. There was enough game here that they could have just kept it about the story and not involve side content. The side content overall, I was not overall a big fan. I understand why it's there, because when you have the side content that you do, it gives a deeper view into these machines. You see that the machines, as they have lost the sense of who their master and their purpose is, they start following these different human tropes, whether it's religion or whether it's civilization or family or love or peace or entertainment, whatever it is, they start acting in many human ways. And so these machines, the side quests give you a great deal of insight into their personality and who they're becoming, and understanding the world a lot better. That being said, the side quests are honestly just a bit dull at times. They're boring. I think the first quest that, tasked me with going and finding 3 people and getting an item from each of them, and they were spread across the world, and then bringing it back to this character, and then going and telling his response to getting that item to these 3 characters again, just to come all the way back to him. This is before fast travels opened up. It was like a 20 to 30 minute quest, and there was very little reward for it. And I was honestly just frustrated. And that was probably the worst of it. But, there were several escort quests, and there were several quests that just required you to jump all over the world. And I just felt like I was jumping through hoops and spending extra time for the sake of it. I didn't really enjoy the side questing overall, and I wish most of it had been omitted. Now, that being said, there was one side quest that I thought was truly magical. Stood out far above and beyond the rest, and that was the Romeos and Juliets. Go back into the Romeos and Juliets, and I think in the video title I even put the time to fast forward to, because it was just ridiculously hilarious. It's the funniest take on Romeo and Juliet I've ever seen, and it just added a lot of character. So by all means, check out that video. It was pretty great. Overall, this was a big detractor. There was a lot of times where I just couldn't wait to keep playing, but because of these side quests, there was part of me that often didn't want to sit down and dive into the game, because I felt like I was going to be just wandering aimlessly around this big open world. So I felt like the pacing and the sense of direction really could have been fixed had they done something different with the side quests, or just left a lot of them out, or told a lot of these stories alongside the main quests somehow. That being said, this is a wonderful game. It's a phenomenal. As far as story writing, it's a masterpiece. The way that they laid the game out, you play through the game as the character 2S, the female character, and you come to the end, and then it basically starts you over from the perspective of 9S, the boy robot. And then you play through almost the same exact story, but you get some different glimpses, some different things that he was doing to assist in the missions in different ways. And so, I could have done without some of the repetition there, but then, things all started to make a little bit more sense because you got some major plot twists that you didn't get the first playthrough. And then, after finishing that, you jump into the third playthrough, where you play as a mixture of all 3 characters of 2B, 9S, and then 2A, who was only introduced, or A2, who was only introduced as a boss during the first 2 playthroughs, and you only got a brief glimpse of. And you basically pursue an entirely new story on the third playthrough. Like, the third playthrough, it's not a repeat of anything. It's all brand new. It's a new story. It's a new adventure. Like, it's like playing a whole nother game, just kind of set in the world, and I have no complaints about that playthrough. It was just the second one that was a little too repetitive for my taste. And that being said, the second one, I think the first playthrough was like 19 hours. The second playthrough was 13, because I was able to speed through it. I did skip a lot of side content, to be honest. And then the last playthrough, I think, was about 17, 18 hours. We dumped somewhere between 50 and 52 hours into this, and some of that might have been pause screens, if I stepped away from the game. So we'll say that it probably maxes out at about 50 hours. Maybe you could dump another 5 to 10 if you saw everything the game has to offer. But honestly, like, I was ready for the game to be over by that point. I wanted to see the endings, and I'm ready to be done with it at this point. It's not a game that I would say has a lot of replayability outside of seeing all the different endings. There are 26 endings in the game, and we saw 12 of them. And honestly, only 5 of them really matter. There are probably about 20 endings that if you fail the game in some silly way, like one of them was I destroyed my operating chip, or I sold my operating system by accident while vendoring things, and so that triggered game over, and here's a different ending. So there's a lot of different ways that you can die and lose the game, and so you get a different ending. Each one corresponds to the letter of the alphabet. And like I said, we saw 12 out of the 26, and I don't feel the need to see any more than that. Only A through E, the 5 main endings of the game, are really worth anything. So anyway, the thing I have to say about this game is if you own a PlayStation 4 and you enjoy RPGs, or action games even, this game is worth picking up. If you haven't watched through the playthrough and you're thinking about playing it, by all means, if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch through my playthrough. But that being said, you want to... This is a game that you want to play. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot to see and do and experience. You're going to laugh at it. You're going to find it moving at times. They've really packed a lot of emotions in here. You might get a little tired of robot voices by the end, but overall, this is a game that you should play. Go to the store and buy this, or go to the PlayStation store and download this game. This game is worth your time and money. You'll get your money's worth out of it if you're an RPG fan and play through games. You'll definitely get your money's worth out of it. At 50 hours, I have no complaints about the entertainment value I got out of this for my money. So anyway, I'm going to give this game a 85, 86. It's a solid B of a game. I would give it much higher were it not for the side content that deeply frustrated me. There were some, if you want a deeper challenge, you can even tune up the difficulty on the game and see things there, and probably even get more time out of it. But that's not my cup of tea. As much as I love difficult games, you guys know I love Dark Souls and Neo and all that good stuff. But I'm not looking for it here. This isn't as fine-tuned in the combat as those. I also found 2S's combat to be a little less fun than the others, and while I understood the combat system pretty well, I never really fully understood, I felt like my character would from time to time be doing different attacks, and I never understood whether it was me moving in different directions or what was causing this, and not a whole lot was done to explain this. So that's another reason for loss of points. Mainly it's just the pacing and that's brought in with the side quests, though. Occasionally I saw some frame rate dips. Nothing too bad, nothing to really complain or that affected the gameplay. It was just oftentimes coming out of a load screen I would see a dip at times, but nothing crazy. So go out, buy this game. Square Enix has done an incredible job, and if they put out another Nier game, I would look forward to that one as well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Give us a thumbs up to show your support. We're trying to get as much community presence as we can, and the more thumbs up you give us and the more subscriptions we get, the easier it will be for more folks to find us and for us to get more videos to you guys. We're going to have a number of things coming up. We've got Prey coming out on Friday, May 5th.
That's just 5 or 6 days away from now when I'm recording this, so that'll be very soon that's coming out. I've got a couple other projects I'm really yearning for. Warhammer Vermintide, you guys have heard me talk about this for a while. I really want to play through that. It's like Left 4 Dead, but with giant rats instead of zombies, so that'll be pretty cool. At some point, I would love to do a Titanfall 2 run through of the campaign. It's a lot of fun. It's gorgeous. So if you guys want to see that, please leave comments about what you would like to see. Also, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, which is Dark Souls 2 with all the DLC, and then possibly also going through Dark Souls 3 again with the DLC that's come out this year. I haven't picked any of that up. While I've played the main part of both of these games, having new enemy placements for 2, and having DLC for both of them, that's some new things. So it would definitely be a fun adventure, and that's my favorite genre of games in the world. So, you know, I've also got, what else is in my stack here? Recently just picked up Mad Max and Resident Evil Revelations 2 on the cheap. I've also got Skymaster Remastered. We've got a lot of games to play through, so let us know what you'd like to see in the comments, or just, you know, if you've enjoyed this, hey, leave an encouraging note. I definitely appreciate that, and I like to communicate with you guys when you guys will leave genuine notes, and I don't just get spam. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Honor to be gaming with you guys. Until next time, this is Savage Sasquatch for GamingReportCard.com, and I am out of here.